Have the privilege of introducing Ms. Cleo, who is our official MC for this evening. So Cleo is not only a Sister Latina and one of Jean's biggest supporters, but also the very first person that read the manuscript for Reclaim Your Worth. She has encouraged Jean to tell her story and has been one of her cheerleaders throughout this entire journey. If you've already read this book, you know how important cheerleaders are to Jean. So it is my pleasure to introduce Cleo Venegas.
Buenas tardes. Good evening. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight to be a witness of the official launch of Reclaim Your Worth by Jean Ibañez-Payne. This evening is very special for many people here. So if you read the book, please, if you don't, go get it because it's a book that can change your life. It changed mine like a few months ago. This evening, Jean will share her personal journey to becoming a writer, the significance this book holds for her, and her hopes for what each of you will take away from it. Will we have a Q&A? Also, we will have a toast and a surprise. It is my privilege and a blessing to introduce Jean Ibañez-Payne. Jean is a tireless proponent for women who has endured trauma. Her own path has been marked by profound challenges, beginning with childhood abuse and continuing through several sexual assaults during her military service. For 2 decades, Jean quietly battled anxiety, depression, and thoughts of suicide. Despite these immense struggles, she found the courage to reclaim her life, transforming her pain into purpose using their tools and the doctor's supports. Today, Jean is a beacon of hope and empowerment for survivors of abuse. Through her coaching, workshops, and speaking engagements, she helps women rediscover their strength and live life filled with purpose and joy. She embodies the belief that every woman has the power to reclaim her worth. Please join me. Join me to give a round of applause to Jean Ibañez-Payne. Come on, let's give an applause to Jean Ibañez-Payne to recover, reclaim your worth. Beautiful. Yes, you want.
Good evening. First, I want to say thank you to Cleo. See, I was not going to cry. I just want to say thank you for being a cheerleader. And you were one of the first ones who actually said to me, "You're not crazy. You need to tell your story. This is going to help a lot of women." And you were right. So thank you. I want to thank everybody here today for being part of this special moment for me. My cheerleaders and protectors. I want to thank my family. Beautiful, my awesome husband who has supported me through this journey for a very long time. And my amazing son who is teaching me so much every day. The same guy who told me when I wanted a pair of shoes and we were at church, he's like, "Mommy, haven't you been blessed enough? Do you really need another pair of shoes?" I want to say thank you to Jael and to Justin, my amazing teammates from TIBC, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Strategy Officer. If it had not been for them, there's no way that I would be here today telling you about this book. They have given me this space. They gave me this space for many months to not just get better mentally, but also to write a book. So thank you. I would be dismissive if I didn't tell you that I am so grateful for my cheerleaders and protectors, my Yagi buddies, and my Pilates buddies. You don't realize how much you're helping me every single day of my life. And I want to tell you a little bit about my book. Isabel, adoro mucho. Eres mi inspiración. So she's my inspiration. She's my niece. I dedicate a book to her. I never want her to experience anything that I experienced. So te adoro. Y mi hermano, te amo. Many people knew my story. It took me 20 years to share it. And when I decided to tell my story, he was very supportive. He said, I'm going to grab some napkins over here. He said to me, hermanita, te apoyo y te quiero mucho. So I have always had the support of my family. And thank you, my niece, Morgan. I had not seen her since she was 3 years old. And when I released the book on Amazon, and she sent me a message. And I didn't realize that I had been her role model since she was 5 years old. So I love you and thank you for being here. So let's just tell you a little bit about my book. My book is my story. My story of abuse that I lived my entire life. How I was able to empower myself to build a life. And this is what I love the most, is building a life, not on the terms and timing of anybody else, but in my own terms and when I was ready. I guess I was ready because I wrote 50,000 words in 4 weeks, 35,000 in just 1 week. And I felt so good. I was afraid. I was really afraid to tell my story. It was when I decided to write my book, I talked to my husband, and he has always had my back. And I said, I'm afraid. What are people going to say? Are they going to judge me? Are they going to say it was my fault? What's the world going to say? Are they going to try to discredit my family? But I didn't care, because I was ready to tell my story. Now it was my time to tell the story. I was no longer afraid of what the people said. And I've never looked back. I am so happy that I told my story. I have so many women, so many people coming to me and said, resonates. Men and women, because men and women are going through trauma. So I have never looked back. You know the best part about this? Since I wrote my book, is I was very fragile at one point.
And my friend Cleo told me yesterday, she goes, "Whoa, I tell you, I have seen a change on you since you released the book." I was like, "What do you mean?" "Well, you just seem so much stronger, more confident, just sassy all around." And I'm happy about that. For the first time in my life, I feel confident, I feel strong, I don't care what people think, and I'm just gonna be me. I'm no longer, I no longer think about any of my experience and feel that it was my fault, because damn it, I didn't do anything wrong and I didn't deserve anything that happened. So thank you again for being here. I hope you're having an amazing rest of the evening, and I'm looking forward to our Q&A. And I'm just so happy to see each one of you here, just seeing the faces that I'm seeing tonight. I intentionally and deliberately invited each one of you because you might not realize, but you did something along the way that impacted my journey. So for that, I am so grateful and thankful. Thank you. I want to take a moment, and I'm just so delighted to see Delegate Cole here. He's part of my community. And I have heard so many wonderful things about how authentic you are and what a great human being you are. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I would love for you just to say a couple of words to this amazing community here tonight.
Well, good evening. I'm going to try that again. I'm a preacher. I like when y'all talk back to me. So, good evening. I am so honored and excited to be here to support this momentous occasion in your life. And I'm looking forward to buying my copy so that you can sign it for me, too. And I'm also looking forward to the work that we can do to help so many people and make sure that we can prohibit, hopefully, what has happened to you, and so that it never happens again. And so I always tell people that whatever you go through is just a test for a testimony that you're able to help other people as well. And so think it not strange that everything you went through in your entire life brought you to this moment right now. And there are people in the future whose destiny is waiting for you to tell your story, and you have already begun that process. So again, thank you all so much for being here today, supporting her, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the Q&A as well. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, get ready for your questions. We have Jean. Okay, I got a few questions here. Can you tell us what was like to write this book?
For those of you who may not have read the book yet, I experienced trauma from the time I was 5 years old, and literally I would say until 10 years ago. Very traumatic experience. And I suffered in silence for 21 years. Not even my husband knew what was happening to me. And after 21 years suffering in silence, I decided to what I call reclaim my worth. The wrong thing that happened with that is it didn't matter how many services and how many things I was doing. I was not doing my part. I was outsourcing my worth to people. I wanted people to fix me. I wanted people to tell me what to do, but I didn't want to do it. So really, I didn't get any better. And at the end of 2022, I called that's the time I feel like I was born again. And I decided to either it was my time to live or I was gonna die. And that was in December of 2022. And my husband didn't know a lot of the stuff. At that moment, I decided that God is not done with me yet, and that it was time to reclaim my worth. And I started listening to my amazing psychiatrist, therapist, started taking control of my life, and I stopped outsourcing my worth to people around me because I realized that it's not a job of people around me to make me happy and help me. I had to do it for myself. And so when I got to the point in January of this year that I have gone through that experience, that's when I decided to write my book. And it was the most amazing experience because I was, in my mind, there are a couple of people here that said, hey, I think you should write a book. I think you should write a book. But it wasn't until I realized in my own terms that I was going to write it. And I was dreading it. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to write about? And I have talked to somebody and they said, well, in order to write a memoir, it has to be around 50,000 words. I'm like, 50,000 words? I mean, come on. I mean, what am I going to say? And this was a very tough, difficult time. Cuando fui a Colombia la semana en marzo, dicho. And I was there for a week. And I started writing. I wrote 35,000 words in 1 week. I was writing 10 to 14 hours a day. And everything was just coming out. So to answer your question, I know it was a long-winded answer, but it was very therapeutic. It was very therapeutic. I felt like I was liberated. And so the whole experience of writing the book is not just necessarily like just writing the book, but it's just the impact that I'm seeing today from men and women. So it has been an amazing experience.
Beautiful. And what do you hope readers will be take away from this book?
I have had so many conversations with many of you here about my book. I think the most important thing to remember is that it's never too late to take control. You might not realize that all that stuff that you're ashamed of, that you feel that you may have caused or not even your fault, all those things, I'm using my imperfections today to help people. So I was telling, I was in Bible study not long ago, and we were talking about all the things that have happened, and I just started reflecting on everything, and I looked to my husband. I said, it's really crummy what happened to me. Very crummy. I don't wish it on anybody. But I was like, I don't think I have any regrets. I know it's horrible, but all that stuff is shaping who I am becoming as a woman. And for that, I mean, I am just so humble. And so it was a very humbling experience to write that book. And I just want to tell people that tell your story. Don't be ashamed. And you'd be surprised how much of a difference you may make with somebody else.
Well, I want to do this in both English and Spanish. If you could go back in time, what would you say to that little girl or a woman who lost the worth? Si pudieras regresar el tiempo, ¿qué le dirías a esta pequeña niña o a esta mujer que ha perdido su valor?
Me va a hacer llorar otra vez, hombre, pues. Ay, hombre. En inglés y español. I often look at a lot of pictures from the time I was a little girl. If you haven't read the book, I grew up in a very abusive household. But I also know that my parents didn't know any better. And I would give her a hug. I would tell her, my father never told me he loved me until maybe I was 40-something years old now. So I would tell her that I believe you, I love you. I will hug her. I will protect her. ¿Qué diría yo a esa niña? Yo a esa niña le daría un abrazo. Le diría que la quiero mucho. La protegería. Y le diría que tuviera confianza en decirme todo. We'll go back and hopefully have the kind of parents where I could have told them what people were doing to me. That's what I would say.
What advice do you have for others who may have this situation of feeling in their life?
When things happen to us, sometimes we have to walk a journey, and we might not even realize it. But everything happens in our own time. And unless we are ready to take control of our lives and to reclaim that worth, nothing is going to change. And you know what? I would say I would rather be ready to reclaim my worth than be forced to do something that I'm not ready to do. Give her some tissues over there. I love you, Olga. She's one of my biggest cheerleaders too. Do you want to give her some tissues?
Thank
over
you,
there?
cheerleaders, for being here.
So I, I'm not going to sit here and judge people. Says, well, you need to do this. You need to do this. I would just say everybody does everything in their own terms, and they will know when that is. And that's what I did. It's just the moment that you know that you're ready, do it. Don't look back. One of the things my dad told me, he said, when I was starting the business and just anything in general, dice, ni un paso para atrás ni para coger impulso. No sé si los oídos de Sully Roy, siempre me dice eso. But not even one step back, not even to gain impulse. So once you decide that you're ready to do that, better off, just do it.
Good. Now, tell me. Let's see what we can say here. What is next for you?
I said I was going to write one book, and that's it. It has been a very emotional experience writing a book. I'm still healing. And sometimes people don't realize that when you are a trauma survivor of any kind, every day is a battle. And it's a good one or a bad one, whatever, but is meeting myself where I'm at every day. And I'm going somewhere with this. One of the things that I have realized is that my work is not done yet. I'm already writing another book, a children's book. The Spanish version of my book is going to be coming in November. I have an amazing, I'm so blessed with the publicist that I have, because she's just not somebody, a publicist, just like, hey, let's do this and make some money off you. But she's really walking me through this journey. And, I'm going to write a book for teenagers, because I think a lot's happening in our schools today where kids are losing their worth, bullying, body image, body dysmorphia, teasing, horrible. And I feel that I can put that story into words that is going to equip them with the tools that they need to reclaim their worth. So in 2025, I am going to launch a foundation that is called Reclaim Your Worth. And I want to continue to be an advocate. I want to speak loud because I am no longer afraid.
Love it. Well, you better have questions for Jean. Do you have any question for Jean? Who has it? Any questions?
I was going to say, I talk to you guys all the
Yes.
time, so I know that my
But maybe you want to know anything? You want to know what is next? Oh, here's one.
Hi, Jean. Hi. I'm just curious, can you talk more about your foundation? That sounds fantastic. Tell me what it's going to be about. What is it going to do?
I want to create a foundation for people who have faced trauma, specifically sexual trauma and abuse. I want the foundation to be for men and women, because men are suffering. If you look at the statistics, they're horrible. Just in the military, 5 women and 4 men every day are sexually assaulted. And something needs to change in the government. They need to take ownership, because many people in the military leadership, they're failing us. They're hiding the crime. They don't believe us as victims. I was sexually assaulted for 4.5 years in the military. And I'm talking about assault, harassment, abuse. And every time that I spoke up, they made me feel like I was the predator. They do not protect their women. They do not protect their men. Sexual abuse is also pervasive in the corporate environment. So my goal to create a foundation is that I want to support armed forces members, and I want to support civilians. I haven't decided the details yet. What is that going to look like? But I am fully committed to starting a foundation.
Anyone?
You mentioned a book for teenagers. What is that going to focus on? And like, what is the goal of that overall? Or just to share your story with them as well.
There are different angles that I'm thinking of taking with my book. I have been talking to local colleges and universities here in town. It's very sad what's happening, even with the high schools, even with the middle schools. And I want to do is equip them with ways how they can speak up and raise their hand, defend themselves. Sometimes we say, well, they're just in middle school, or they're just in high school. Well, there's actually predators there, colleagues, fellow students, who are talking to those little girls or boys to send them naked pictures of them. But because those people who are doing it may be very popular in school, they might be in the varsity team, or they do all that stuff, they're in a position of power. And guess what's happening? they submit. Okay, and the same thing, and just all, it starts very early, and we as parents have to equip the kids with the tools that they need to speak up, but we have to also give them the space where they trust us, because where my parents failed me is that when that was happening, I was too afraid of saying anything, because I knew if I said anything, my father did the first time it happened to me, and I called him. This little girl, 18 years old, in the military, call him and say, "Mommy, Daddy, somebody just abused me in the military. And this is what's happening to me with my chain of command." The father said, "What did you do to deserve it?" It has to stop. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, it did a very good job, and I agree that like kids, especially after COVID, they need so much from us, and they need to know that we're there too. And there's advocates like you. So thank you.
Hi, Jean.
hi,
I'm so proud of you.
thank you for being here.
So I want to know, how was the process of involving Gabe into your story? Like sharing your story with him? How did you prepare? How did he take it?
I suffered for 20 something years. I got out of the military back in 1996. I was broken literally for the next 20 years. You heard Cleo talk about the things that I went through. So, in order to answer that question, I have to involve my husband. Hid it from my husband for 21 years. And I think he thought it was all stressed. And he didn't know the private battle that I was fighting. So for a very long time, he has seen mommy, be very sad. There's time when Rick became aware of my story, where I would just come down the stairs and I would just start crying, and I just said, "I just need a hug." And he would always bring Gabe into the fold. Gabe has seen my trials and tribulations of my health, and what many people don't see, because how I carry myself. One of the things my mom told me is like, "Mija," which, by the way, that's her right there. So she's here today. She said, "It doesn't matter if you don't have any money, but it doesn't mean you have to be walking around with wrinkled shirt, wrinkled pants." So with my health is, with all the suffering, I ended up developing fibromyalgia, which you have seen on Facebook. And if you don't know what that condition is, it's literally being in a number 910, which I am today. Chronic pain is like going to the gym. You haven't been to the gym in many years and you decide to go. That is what my daily life is. So he has seen mommy barely getting up the stairs, crawling up the stairs, not being able to sleep, with insomnia and everything that comes with PTSD. And so he has been very aware of my journey. I learned so much from him. I mean, he's amazing. And so when it came time to write the book and release it, my husband and I were very careful with, hey, Mommy's going to be releasing a book. And so I actually let him, one night, I said, "Here's a chapter. Your chapter here. Do you want to read it?" And he did. He could not put it down until he finished his chapter. So he's very aware. He's a very smart, but also we have been very open with mommy. But this is also a teaching lesson for him in how to respect others, how to be humble, and how to protect those people who may be vulnerable at school. And it happens a lot. You just do not know it. So.
Thank you. Anybody else? Well, Kyle?
I was going to ask before. So Jean, what do you think, like, for people that want to tell their story, just because I know you want to empower people to tell their story, do they have to write, they don't have to write a whole book, can they go to somebody, should they write their own notes? Like, what for you was the most relieving? Was it literally writing those 50,000 words? Was it confiding in somebody?
No, writing a book can be very daunting to people. Oh my gosh, what am I going to say? How am I going to do it? Easy, super easy. I mean, I can't believe that from the time I said I'm going to do it, we're still in October. Okay. You have to commit yourself. So anybody who knows me, and Rick, my husband, will say, let me tell you, be afraid. And Jael and Justin here with work, and I don't know if, is Alice here? Okay, so they will tell you, be careful. When Jean puts a stake in the ground, it's gonna get done. So it's making a commitment, saying, I am going to do it. And then for me, it was putting it out to the world, putting it out on social media and said, I am going to write a book and this is what I'm going to do. Well, you know what? It's difficult when people ask you, says, well, you know, I think I'm just going to wait 20 years to write it. So I literally, what I did is start writing, and that's what I did. Once I started writing, I hire a proofreader. I say, hey, here's a manuscript that I came up with, you know, and I just don't know. Can you help me out? And she did a lot of the work of the formatting, proof editing, all that stuff. She did all that, and then I turned it over to my publisher, and they helped me even refine my title, refine my everything. And so it's you sitting down and writing that story. And once you're able to do that, the rest is just like Jackie, my publisher, says, it's just magic. Okay, so before we dive into the surprise, again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. You're here tonight because you are part of my journey. You might not even realize it. You must help spread the word of those people who have lost their worth. Recently, had the opportunity to be invited to be a panelist on a higher education school. There was a group of young women, less than 24. I would say there was around 60 women. And the topic of the book, of the meeting, of the event was, how do you create your brand as you enter business environment, the corporate environment? I left that meeting. I felt sad. I felt demoralized, because as they start talking about what are the things that we as women need to do to get ready for the business world, there's still information up there that says, don't speak too much. Don't come across too strong. If you wear a skirt, make sure it's not too short. Don't wear too much makeup. Be humble. Know your place. Can you imagine how those women felt after that presentation? That is going to, we're setting ourselves back 50 years. My legacy is to help women reclaim their worth. Reclaiming your worth is all about self-love, self-value, self-respect. Self-worth is for us to own. We cannot delegate that to anybody else. So we need to stick together. A lot of work to be done. So let's just come to the surprise. Each one of you received a ticket coming in tonight. I decided to put a box, beautiful box together. And so I will, so let me tell a little bit about that. The box has a couple of books on self-care. It has, if you haven't received one, you will. This is my trademark which I will wear forever of Reclaim My Worth. And the book also has 2 books of Reclaim Your Worth. It has 2 journals. One book is for you, one journal is for you. But I will challenge you to look for somebody who needs to reclaim their worth or are in the process of doing it and give it to them. Might just change their life or save their life. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to ask my beautiful and amazing Isabel to pick one out.
Ticket 4006557.
Okay, now in English. 4. No, 4. Yeah, 4.
4
0
0
0
0
6
6
5
5
5
5
7.
7.
Okay, who's the winner?
Yay!
got a
Awesome.
winner.
Okay, so go get it.
And the 2 books that you gave me to get is going to each one of my daughters.
Man,
Oh, that's
Yes.
nice.
yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. If you have read the book, you probably know what I mean when I say reclaim your worth. Claiming your worth is a marathon. It's my testimony. It's not a sprint. Every day is a journey. So one thing that I want to ask you tonight is, what are you going to do? What is that thing that you're thinking about to reclaim your worth? And I started over there with some stickies. Mine is mine personally that I work for hard all the time. Stop looking for acceptance and validation. Shanti, I gotta use this one. Love her. She's one of my yoga instructors. I have cried with her doing yoga. And you look in the mirror. Do you praise or do you judge? I used to do a lot of judging. I don't do that anymore. I don't care if I don't have any makeup or anything. I just look at myself in the mirror. I don't even care if I'm going to the 5 o'clock a.m. Pilates or yoga. I'm like, nobody sees me. But I'm like, man, you look good. Instead of looking for imperfection, oh, you look good. I challenge you to do that. Let me tell you, you'll be surprised how much it helps. The other thing that I want to tell you too that my mom told me, ¿te acuerdas, Leroy? No soy monedita de oro para gustarle a todo el mundo. Okay, well, you get to choose your stone. I like diamonds. Remind myself too. Stop looking for validation, acceptance. I'm not a diamond to be loved by everybody. So I would love for you to take some time when you get a chance and just write something up there. How are you going to reclaim your worth? What is that thing that's holding you back? So now I would like to do a toast. And I don't know if many, you can repeat after me, but there's a pledge that I have at the end of the book. One thing that I will tell you that when you're ready to write a book, when I wrote my manuscript and I turned it over to my proofreader, nothing changed. Nothing. There's not the substance, nothing. And so I was thinking as I was writing this book, I'm like, okay, well, I told my story. I've given people the past, what I did to reclaim. What is something that you can walk away with? What is the pledge that you can? And so I want to invite you. 66. I don't know. I cannot see it. I don't see it. I guess I need the glasses. But anyways, there's something here that says from this day forward. And I read this a couple of times because when I'm feeling down, I'm like, I just need a recharge. So I want to read it aloud. And you can join me if you have the book. And if you don't, when you have your copy, please just do it for yourself. Lisa, come here with me. Vente acá conmigo. So, my pledge, raise your glasses. On October 24, I, Jean Ibañez-Payne, recognize that my physical and mental needs are my sole responsibility, and that to be the best to myself and those around me, I must not ignore those needs. From this day forward, I will become selfish when I need to take care of myself, of me, myself, and I. Do a daily body and mind scan. Act when my body has physical and emotional needs. Never outsource my happiness. Exercise self-care. Treat my body as my most precious possession. Take a few minutes to do a couple of breathing exercises and enjoy my surroundings. Exercise self-accountability and make my physical and emotional needs a priority. Build a circle of cheerleaders and protectors who can hold me accountable. And give myself grace when I do not meet self-expectations. Thank you. I hope that you have enjoyed this evening, and I'm so grateful for each one of you. And I hope that you can enjoy the rest of the evening, taking pictures, checking out the books. Please leave a post over there of how you're planning to reclaim your worth. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here again. Please grab your copy of the book. Jean is going to be signing books right over there.